Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's that kid Greg back again with another off the cuff rant type video. For this one, I am going to talk about the DNC like insanity right now going on in Philly, the RNC stuff going on in Cleveland, and just political parties in general because I've got a lot to say about that. And the reason why I'm doing this one off the cuff is because I've actually been working on a few other videos, and like I had a lot of ideas coming through this weekend, and then none of them ended up being finished because I tried to work on all of them at once. So apologies for that. I will hopefully you'll see them soon, and they'll be really cool because I'm putting a lot of time into these. So if you guys didn't know, there's been a lot of stuff going on with the major political party conventions in the past couple days. You had the Republican National Convention where you had all this drama with Trump and the more establishment Republicans. Particularly, you had the stuff that happened with Cruz not endorsing him. He like low key said, "Don't vote for Trump," like, which is funny because Trump is this like dark horse, and now like like the entire Republican Party has to respect him because he is the official candidate, but a lot of them don't want to, and Trump is he's spoken himself into a corner where he doesn't really. I don't think he's prepared to lead. Personally, I didn't mention that in my Trump video, which I will link down below. But yeah, I don't think he's prepared to lead, but he wants to lead. He wants that power. He wants that prestige of being called the president of the United States, and so he's walked himself into a corner, and we'll see how that plays out in when it comes time to vote later in the fall. And of course, there was the whole huge thing with excuse me. There was the whole huge thing with the Young Turks getting into it with Alex Jones. Oh man, both of who I've taken shots at in the past. But no, it was crazy because Cenk was doing his coverage with his team, and Alex Jones like literally just invaded his set and just started just coming at him, just like real life trolling, which is hilarious to me. And you could see that Cenk was not having it, and he was able to like hold it back up until a point. But after a certain, I forgot what Alex Jones said in particular, he yelled something at Anna because Anna was yelling at him, and then Cenk lost his shit. And Ben, the realest nigga in the world, had his coat, immediately took his jacket off and was holding Cenk back in case Cenk decides to throw hands, which is amazing. That was like the dopest thing I've ever seen anyone on the Young Turks do. And then in the back, Jimmy Dore goes and spits in Alex Jones's face, which is like the most classless thing you can do. It's like the most underhanded thing you can do, which just goes to prove how much of a snake he is. Like I don't like Jimmy Dore. Like of all my like gripes with the Young Turks recently, I mean, most of the people who work for that network on that channel are pretty likable. Jimmy's not one of them. And I expressed this in my Young Turks rant, and you can check that out. I'll also link to it in the description. So there was all that chaos at the RNC, and now at the DNC, there's even more chaos because as all this is gearing up to go, WikiLeaks drops bombs on everybody. Like, hey, guess what? The DNC we got the emails. The DNC has been conspiring against Bernie and working with the Hillary campaign all along to make sure that, like, dude, like hundreds of people have called it already. So many people called this. Like, it's not even funny. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, how many people were like, oh, they're probably conspiring against Bernie. Oh, there's a conspiracy here. And a lot of those people were called crazy. And boom. Suddenly it's revealed they were totally right. Because, you know, even, like, as much as evidence is awesome, sometimes things are so obviously playing out a certain way that you don't need the evidence to say so. And I know, like, the world doesn't work that way. People require objective evidence to say if something is gone one way or another, and it can change, but some things are just like, come on, is it not that? It's so obvious. How could you not see it, right? And this is one of those situations. And the thing that bothered a lot of people is that despite this, and despite the head of the DNC actually resigning and stepping down, Bernie is still saying, hey, we got to support Hillary to protect us from Trump. And it's like, no, we don't. We don't have to support Hillary because it's clear that she's corrupt, and it's clear that she's everything that you claim to be against. And why would people who support you vote for someone who is the antithesis of everything you stood for? Like, come on, Bernie. Come on, man. Come on, man. And rightfully so, he was booed every time he tried to tell people that. Every time Bernie brought up hey, we need to unify and support Hillary Clinton, he was booed horribly. And that's totally justified. It's totally justified because it is, and I get it, like, Bernie's playing the long game is what some people might say, but no, dude, you're like in your 70s, 80s. Like, Bernie, you're super old. I don't think you're going to get the chance to be president again, bruh. It's like, it's a now or never situation for you. And you're trying to play the long game and it just won't work. And we know it's not going to work. And so this leads me into the main thing I want to discuss is political parties. Because all of the thing that you hear, both at the RNC and at the DNC, is we have to unify. We have to unify the parties so that the other side can't take us out. And it's like, why? Why do you need unification amongst the parties? Look, the whole reason behind political parties is because the idea is that a political party matches you to a candidate who holds most of, if not the same ideals that you have. But obviously throughout history that was required because people didn't have as much access to information as they would like. And so you just had to pick the best of what you were handed. But we don't live like that anymore. We live in the 21st century. We live in the age of technology. We live in the age of the internet, where we can find out anything and everything in a moment's notice, in an instant. The whole concept of political parties at this point is redundant. It's outdated because we can, as people, figure out exactly what the issues are, where we stand in relation to those issues, and how we feel about those issues, and how we feel they should be addressed and solved. It makes no sense to have political parties anymore, really. And I know, and because all it leads to is division and in-group, out-group mentality, which we don't need. We don't need it anymore. And I feel like this chaos going on with the major parties is a perfect opportunity to break the mold and either elect a third-party candidate or completely do away with this system, because it doesn't work. It's very silly, you know. There's plenty of people who are conservatives, but they are also classical liberals who think that, hey, you know, you should have your freedom and you should be judged based on what you do and your merit and what you produce, judged on your actions, not on your words. And you have people on the flip side of that who are very much left wing but are much more authoritarian, and not in like a malevolent sense, but they want more government. They want more intervention of higher powers. Like, hey, we need the government to pay for this. We need that, and we need this stuff. And it's very much, well, where's the line even drawn anymore? Because a lot of these things that used to be very conservative issues, things that were held by the right wing, are now left wing. And then things that used to be very democratic in terms of like political parties are now on the right wing. And it leads you to this very weird place. Like, well, I don't fall into either camp. And then some people might say, oh, well, just be a libertarian. It's like, but I don't fall in line with them either. So, like, where do you want me to go? And it makes no sense. And I feel like it's another way of keeping people in the collective mindset rather than focusing on the individual mindset. What works for me? What helps me? What's going to help me down the line, and my family, and their future, and my kids, and my generations, etc., etc. It is it's very silly that we still have this notion that this huge group of people is just gonna pick the person for you, and that person is gonna address everything that you need. It's so stupid. No, there's no magic person. There's no savior, right? Nobody's gonna come down and solve all of our problems, but we as people should be able to pick the best person for the job, the person that addresses the most of our issues. Because when you adopt a political party, you're just adopting a set of things that you have to agree with. And if you don't agree with all of them, then most of the time you'll get, well, obviously you're for the other side. But then you go to that side and you don't agree with all of them either. And then you get, well, obviously you're for the other side, and so you're stuck in the middle. I feel like this is why George Washington, in his farewell address, warned about the danger of political parties. He said avoid them. And of course we didn't listen. We didn't listen to a lot of the stuff he said, and it came back to bite us in the ass more than a few times. But I feel like he foresaw the division it would cause and how it would eventually reach a point where it was stealing away the voice of the people. Because that's what it's done. Both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party has stolen the voice of the people and reduced them to nothing but talking points. And I don't think that's cool. And I think we can do better. And I think if there was ever a time to try and get rid of the two-party system, at the very least just the two-party system, because I don't think we'll be able to get rid of political parties entirely, but at least just the idea that we can only have two parties running for president and maybe a third one, but he's never going to win. Like, we can drop that idea, and the time for that would be now. I have no idea how to go about it. I have no idea how to put it into action, but I think that now would be the time for it. But that is just what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And as always, well, you're not really watching anything, you're listening. So thank you for listening. I will be back Thursday with a new video. Hopefully I will have picked one to actually finish and put up. Hey, if you've stuck around this long, why don't you leave me a comment and let me know what you would like to hear? Would you like to see a video about racism? Oh boy. Would you like to see a video about cultural appropriation? Or would you like to see a video about gender where I respond to a TED Talk by a trans man? Is that the right term? When somebody transitions from female to male do you call them a trans man or trans woman because they transitioned from woman? I don't. This stuff confuses me. I'm gonna be completely honest. It confuses me a lot, and so usually I just address them by whatever I look at them, like whatever I can see. So he looks like a guy, and so he's a dude. So I will, in that video, I would be responding to him and his ideas on gender. So if you guys stuck around to hear that, let me know what you want to see, and I will work on that one and have it ready by Thursday. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye.